Hello everybody and welcome to Mr. Stansfield's Education Videos. Today we're looking at photograms. Now, photograms, what are they? I think maybe that is best explored in more depth in another video, but let me summarize really quickly. A photogram is a photographic image made in a darkroom whereby you take objects, put them on photo paper, and project light onto the photo paper. Typically we use an enlarger, although we're going to look at some examples today that most likely don't use an enlarger. Sometimes those are called something else. But photogram, the essential basic idea is you take objects, you put them on photo paper, you project light. When light hits photo paper, it changes, it becomes darker, and the objects on the photo paper will block the light. And so those areas of the photo paper remain white or sometimes become gray if some light is allowed through. Translucency or transparency is certain objects. Take a piece of regular printer paper, for example, is likely to create a gray tone because some light will come through that, but not all of it. So that'll be that gray tone. Let's go ahead and jump into it. So I'm going to share some artists here, some artists' work, and this is roughly chronologically, not entirely 100% chronologically, but let's start with Anna Atkins. Many folks regard Anna Atkins as one of the first, if not the first, prominent woman in photography, and widely credited as making the first photography book. So her photography book, Photographs of British Algae, cyanotype impressions, published in 1843. She made photograms on cyanotypes. Now, cyanotypes, I'll just very briefly mention, is a different photographic process than the silver gelatin print. The premise of that particular photo paper is essentially the same. It functions the same, and the result is this cyan or blue color. Instead of black and white, we have shades of blue. And so you have different values based on the blue spectrum rather than the black and white spectrum. And so Anna Atkins created this book of British algae. She was a photographer in the very early days of photography. This is really maybe within, depending on when you start the clock, the first 10 or 20 years of photography. So she made these photograms, and they were remarkable for sure. Sometime in the 1990s, her work was sort of revisited and really scrutinized in a way, and really brought her to light. Before then, I would say the typical male-centric view of history and of art history in particular, and of photography history, really, unfortunately, we didn't see, most people didn't understand the contributions of Anna Atkins really until that point. So we're grateful that we now have her in the canon, and her work here, her photograms here, really straightforward, really simple, almost scientific. Really, looking at algae as algae and finding a way to record what she was seeing in the real world with these photographic impressions, these cyanotype impressions, using the photogram process. So jumping ahead 75 years or so, Man Ray. Man Ray was a photographer in the early part of the 20th century, and really expanded on the photogram process. And he titled his photograms rayographs, but there's nothing that makes a rayograph different from a photogram except that they were made by Man Ray. And so I'll show you a few of his images. Pretty much all of these are abstract in nature, and that really comes from the art movement that Man Ray was involved in. Typically you can see at least some of the objects that Man Ray uses as, you can see the object itself. You can recognize the object itself that Man Ray is using in these abstract rayographs, which I think is pretty interesting. Somebody else working around the same time and very much in the same vein, Man Ray and Laszlo Moholy-Nagy are friends and working together in the same era and doing very similar things with their art in that sort of early part of the 20th century. Who else is working with photograms around that same time? None other than Pablo Picasso. These little-known photograms are experiments of seeing for Picasso. And we can recognize Picasso's style, the way that he paints and the way that he constructs an abstract portrait. Very similar here, we can see. I want to jump ahead now, and so we're kind of moving into the later part of the 20th century, and this is Sheila Pinkle, and she was working with folded paper. And in this case, the photogram and glass rods. Okay, I'll just jump back really quickly. I want to look at these. So in this case, what Sheila Pinkle is doing is actually taking the light and changing the direction. So when we think of a photogram, we think if we're working with an enlarger, the enlarger is projecting down. We have our photo paper flat at the base of the enlarger. The light hits it, and it's pretty kind of directional. Many photographers, including Sheila Pinkle and several others I'm going to show you, used light sources other than the enlarger itself, and the direction of the light really changes what we're seeing here. So Sheila Pinkle figured out when she folded the photo paper up and put light from a certain direction on the photo paper, this is the result. These pretty remarkable, these truly remarkable, beautiful abstract images. And you know, really thinking about light. Glass rod. So here's you know, one of the things that I think many of us who are exploring photograms are going to want to get into is finding gray value. If you're working on a black and white print like this, you have white, you have black. How do you find gray value? And finding objects that include glass, some kind of translucency, something that transmits part of the light through, I think that's going to be the thing that will allow you to find really interesting gray tones. So these are Sheila Pinkle's. Allison, I apologize for not knowing this pronunciation. Allison Rossiter or Rossiter, I'm not 100% sure. Working contemporarily, working today, and finding these abstract designs and photograms through collecting unexposed antique papers. And so we can see through the title, Sears Roebuck Darko Rough, exact expiration date unknown, circa 1930s, process 2012. And so what Allison has figured out here is that the old photo papers that she collects, she's able to expose them and develop them in a certain way that gives a really unique, each paper has its own really unique quality, color, texture, and she creates these abstract designs. Tanesh Weber is another contemporary photographer here working in the last 20 years or so on these photograms, and lots of small repeated patterns and details. And I really love the way that space is portrayed in this two-dimensional, photography is two-dimensional, it's flat, right? How do you create the illusion of space? Photograms, I think, are even more flat than traditional photography. And, I do really appreciate the way that the repetition of many, many things. Here, thread of some kind is the object that is being used, and the results are really remarkable. Markus Am, and I don't know if I can move my little head over here. There we go. So that you can see the name. Markus Am, a German photographer working contemporarily on photograms using the same abstract design here. Often the images that we see are not representational, they're abstract. And with the contemporary photographers and with historical photographers as well. Let's see if we can get back into there. Hernice Davis is a contemporary photographer and working with photograms in a really lovely way. These 3x3 9-image silver gelatin photograms. There are 2 that I'm going to show you here from the series A Womb of My Own, Mistakes Were Made in Development. And this was a really wonderful process. I encourage you to look up and read more about Davis's process. Really interesting artist. But these are huge life-size photograms that were created by, we can see here, placing herself on the photo paper and making an exposure to light. Mike Jackson here, luminogram prints, lumen meaning light, and so these are a little bit different. Okay, creating abstract designs through light exposure. Jackson here is using light and objects, but doing it in a very controlled way. So thinking about blocking the light and using a little flashlight to create this rather than the traditional enlarger. Then the results are beautiful for sure. I absolutely love these. This was a recent discovery of mine, and I may not get the name right. Natasha Nikolova Kratzer, Elemental Forms Landscapes. So these are tin types, which is a process that's different than a silver gelatin process, and they're abstract landscapes. So this is not a photograph, this is a photogram, and it's created using the wet collodion printing process. They're made on little pieces of black metal, and the results, I think, are just beautiful, but they're representational. So this is, one of the things that I love about showing intro to photography students this work in particular is an image like this you could create on an enlarger with paper, with cut paper, right? It's such a simple idea, but the results are really beautiful. And the fact that Nikolova Kratzer's thought process behind this, again, I encourage you, for each of these artists, go and look. There are many articles and interviews and stuff with each of these artists that you can find and find a little bit more about their process. Really, really lovely ideas that are, and really thoughtful ideas that are going into many of these projects. But yeah, these are representational landscapes made via photogram by taking light and objects on the, in this case, metal, but we're using photo paper typically in the darkroom. Something like this is such a simple idea that can be created using cut paper to great effect. Another landscape, showing you quite a few of these here. Judith Mons is another contemporary photographer working in cyanotype, so going back to those first images that we saw from Anna Atkins, similar process here, that blue-toned print. In this case, if we look at the size, it's almost 4 feet wide. It's a huge piece of photo paper that is created, and then these are eucalyptus leaves. Now, if we look at each individual leaf, I think they're pretty interesting on their own. If we take a step back and we look at this design, this beautiful design that's created, probably took quite a bit of time to arrange all of those in a specific way. In the next image, similarly using leaves of different sizes and arranging them in a way that really fills the whole image, 15 inches by 15 inches, so a little smaller here for this particular composition. But I really love the way that the whole image is being used here. We're typically working in the black and white darkroom, working in a color darkroom these days in 2021 when I'm making this video, not something that many people are doing, not something that is really accessible to many people, the color darkroom. It's a difficult process. It's a volatile process. It's hard to work, and it's hard to actually manage the chemicals. But beautiful results here. More abstract design from Lisa Gidley here. Recent chromogenic prints is sometimes what we call that color darkroom image. And a really interesting use of color for sure. Similarly, same idea here from Natalie Kent, and this is from the Movement Artifact series, and some really, really lovely color and abstract design. So there are some examples of photograms. Many of these are abstract in nature. I wanted to highlight a few things that most of these images include, which is a composition that uses the whole paper. I'm thinking about, okay, here we go, Judith Mons. The image goes to the edge. There are some things that go off the edge. For beginning photography, if we go back to Anna Atkins, who, remember, was a pioneer of early photography. Let's go back to the beginning here, right? There's so much space around the outside. It's just a single thing in the middle. And that was remarkable for its time. They were discovering the chemistry of photography. They were discovering how photography worked. It was in the very, very infancy of photography. And the results are beautiful and amazing. As we get into more complicated designs, take this image here on the right side. Man Ray is using the whole paper. There's negative space, but some of the objects, some of the image is sort of going right up to and off the side of the paper. Similarly here with a lot of the contemporary abstract photograms that we see. So just something to think about as you're making your compositions. Don't be afraid to include part of your composition that goes off of the page. Right? So that's one thing that I wanted to draw our attention to, especially for beginning photographers. A lot of the time it's like, okay, object, put it in the middle of the page, make your photogram. Okay, good. How can we create more dynamic and interesting compositions? Well, use the whole paper. The other thing that I wanted to draw our attention to is that this sort of idea of representative design. So something like this. I mentioned earlier, you can create something on a photogram that looks like something else that's representative. Abstraction is this idea of creating a design. Maybe it looks like something else, right? So actually the titles give us some hint, I think, of what Jackson is thinking about here. Bird Song are the titles of these. And maybe Jackson is responding to that particular song. Maybe that there's some sort of representation of a bird itself here. But for the most part, what we're talking about is abstract design, things that don't represent something else. It's just, the design itself is complex and interesting. The gray tones, the white, the black, the way that they all interact with each other. I think this is going to be the key to creating interesting abstraction, is thinking about light, black and white tones, and how they all come together. So that's a little bit of an introduction into photograms, talking to and about some of these photographers working with photograms contemporarily and historically. Like I said, I think exploring how photo paper works, that's going to be something that it's probably good to understand. How the enlarger works, that's going to be good to understand. And then understanding how the darkroom sync works, processing the photo paper, also really important to understand. For now, this is more of the creative approach, and I hope you enjoyed this presentation.